Okay, on the air according to the screen. Just looking. Hey, some people might have done their hair before coming on. Not me. You get me as I am. And ooh, look who's already here. Rob, Luke, Musical Aviator. Yes, my talking about the big news story in Australia that nobody's allowed to talk about. And in general terms, and hello Tendai, yes, and Mimsy's here. She's having a sleep at the moment, but and hey, AgroPixie. Yeah, in general terms, I agree with the rules around suppression of certain details around certain cases. And hi, Gamerfrost, how's it doing, buddy? Haven't seen you in a little while. And Patman, how you going? How you going? Yes, all things that are gagged, which, oh, geez, you probably don't want to go there with what things get gagged and that sort of thing. But yeah, in general terms, I agree with these suppression orders, like A, so the person gets a fair trial, and B, so the defense don't get to put a bogus, he can't get a fair trial thing. But this one's kind of ridiculous because all the international media is reporting, hey, Mr. Gonzo and Raiders, because it's like a normal court case where there's a suppression order, you know, and it's usually something serious like sex offences or, you know, murder or whatever. You can put a suppression order on, and that'll be fine because international media doesn't give a shit about cases like that. But, you know, when you're talking about someone who's got a profile on the world stage, the international media is going to report on it, and they're all reporting, hey, do you know Australian media is not allowed to report on this? It's ridiculous. Mr. Gonzo, you sent me the story about the bumbling SWAT team. Oh my God, that was a messed up story. That was from a little while ago. One of the million or so examples of police excesses in the US, a SWAT team threw a flashbang grenade into a baby's crib and refused to accept responsibility for the injuries to the baby. Yeah. Raiders, you want Murdoch and Bolt and jail with him. Yeah, they were both hardcore supporters along with Tony Abbott. Yeah, it's their previous support is not looking so good now. But it's just like, do you remember like Julia Gillard fought so hard to get a royal commission into sexual abuse in institutions, and the one that came off worse was the Catholic Church, but it wasn't the only institution investigated. And she fought really hard for that, and the Conservatives called it a circus, a sideshow, it's a political stunt. And holy friggin' hell, the amount of institutional abuse it uncovered was astonishing. Yeah, even if you were cynically minded about how much was happening, when it all started coming out, it was like so full on. It's like, but the people who tried to block the Royal Commission never backed down or took responsibility. Yeah. And God, on a slightly lighter note, also noted that our current federal government fought tooth and nail for a couple of years to avoid a royal commission into the banking industry, financial industry. Say, oh, it's a stunt, it's a stunt, it's a stunt. And they finally got backed into a corner, and the Royal Commission happened, which just showed extremely bad behavior and what can only be described as abuse of customers is rife throughout the financial industry. And then you get the Conservatives who tried to block it. Oh, I guess there was something there. These are the same people who had a Royal Commission, and the unions in the building trade will get them, and they weren't able to uncover anything significant. And it's just like, do you guys never get tired of being proven wrong? And the latest one is a federal corruption body. The Liberals and Nationals have been resisting so hard, and Labor's been very gung-ho for it, which I find mildly surprising, because I have no illusions. I don't think Labor's squeaky clean, but they're also, yep, independent commission against corruption at the federal level, let's do it. And the Libs are going, no, and it's like they don't realise how it looks. We don't want a commission of inquiry. It's like, that just makes you look guilty of shit. And Morrison announced, oh, we're going to have one. And it's completely hamstrung. It's like they can't investigate stuff from the past. And oh my God, it's like they have no idea how they're coming across. It's quite bizarre. Oh, Robbie saying Kelly O'Dwyer was on the NAB board before she joined the LNP. But that's the other thing. They're all in cahoots, this mob. It's ridiculous. And yeah, Pat, man, yeah, in retrospect, it's hard not to think that the people who pushed very hard to block the Royal Commission into sex abuse and block the Royal Commission into corruption in the financial industry, they knew exactly what was going to be uncovered and were trying to hide it. Mystery, yeah, that was one of the good things Julia Gillard did, had that Royal Commission against a lot of opposition. Right, as RIP Michael Cohen, dude's going to jail for 3 years. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, Toby. CK is giving the cuddles. Oh my God, that reminds me. I got something in the mail. I should grab it. So I can open on things. So I'll leave you, like, Mimsy's in charge while I'm gone, okay? Okay. Did Mimsy behave while I was gone? I don't think she moved. Did she? Okay. So, well done, Mimsy. Nothing went wrong. Look, I got another edition of Real Truth. I didn't read the last one, but here's another one. Let's see what the big article's in. So I start off thinking these are going to be funny, and then they're just boring. What's the thing? Ooh, unrelenting. The new reality of US wildfires. Where they're going to admit to climate change? Ooh, train your children. I like this idea. Train your children with a whip and chair. Hopefully, you got to show them who's boss. Ooh, nice. You can overcome sin, but what if I don't want to? Ooh, China-US trade war. Ooh, this looks like a useful book, doesn't it? How do I get to I do? Courtship and marriage. I bet there's heaps of useful information in that. Why you should keep watching the news even when you're sick of it. Yeah. When there is no peace to keep. At the UN. Wildfires on the west coast are growing worse. The reason for this trend is more than a century in the making. Yeah, climate change. Ooh. Look at this. The evils of Halloween. Trick or treat. Yes. Is it J Dubs, Rob? Published by, well, this guy, David Pack. They all support the work of God. The Restored Church of God. There you go. Just some learning. Hey, but, these ones are always fun. Hey, Heine, how's it going? I'm with you, Agro Pixie. Life with sin is great. So I'm going to stick with that. Hey, Mystery, we'll be talking about various things. This is just the weird side of things. These letters I get. These guys should be opening as well. These usually just have weird things in them. Sometimes there's letters. Sometimes there's weird things. This one's a letter. Raiders, what are the suppression laws on YouTube? Oh, wow, look at that. That is a lot of stuff. Oh, my God. What the heck is this? I'm not even reading this. It's this really long thing. This idiot is really upset about the non-existent African gangs. Yes, crime happens. The whole African gang thing is a racist lie. Raiders, I wouldn't be saying anything on YouTube that would breach the suppression laws because that would be bad. My favorite thing, see all this tiny font. They want me to read it. I go, this is really funny. Starts with, I fucking hate you. I hope you know that. You do now. I wonder how long their tiny little mind spent putting that together. And there's another one. This is really cool. Well, to be fair, I do actually say on my YouTube page, send me hate mail. This guy's just taking it really seriously. Oh, and just to help me out, they've also sent me the summer program for school holidays at Shoalhaven Library. So that's good. Great. That's not at all mentally unbalanced. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's as a side one, Mr. Gonzo. Fuck Australian drug laws. Oh, yeah. See, that's a complicated thing. Most of the governments are super paranoid about endorsing pill testing, like at music festivals and whatnot, because they go, oh, it's like we're approving of them taking drugs. It's like, no, dickheads, they're going to take the drugs one way or the other. And if you test to show someone that's toxic, it'll kill you if you take it, they're not going to take it. And I mean, you had the ridiculousness. This was in New South Wales, the state premier, Gladys Berejiklian, completely refusing to countenance pill testing and say, she actually said this people trying to be taken seriously. This person leads a state government, and her response to people saying you should have pill testing at these events because pill testing saves lives, and her response included, you don't need to take drugs to have a good time. It's like, technically you don't have to take drugs to have a good time. I have a good time all the time, hardly ever on drugs. But pretending people won't take drugs is ridiculous, and pretending taking steps to inform people of their safety or lack thereof with drugs, that was really convoluted. One saying, pill testing, for those who don't know, it's a service that at some venues, some music festivals, you sort of anonymously go in, they do a scraping from your pill, and they run a couple tests on it. And they tell you two things. One, they tell you if there's poison in it, which is often the case. And two, they tell you the strength of it, because that's really unreliable. And they're just like, oh no, this is not ecstasy. This is GBH, and it's in a toxic level in there. This will straight up fuck you up if you take it. Pill testing works. It saves lives. It doesn't make people take more drugs because the people who do pill testing already have drugs they're going to take, and you can save lives by providing pill testing. It's ridiculous. Oh, Raiders, it's not just QAnon releasing details. Yeah, and basically all the media outlets outside of Australia are reporting on this story. I think it was Rob who was saying that the media are appealing the suppression law. And I imagine the central part of their appeal is going to be it's pointless. This story has been published around the world. The horse is bolted. Get over it. But yes. Pat, did I hear about the streamer who beat up his wife? Yes. That probably the thing that freaks me out most about that guy is he knew people were watching. Like someone who takes it for so granted to act violently is so normal, and while people are witnessing it, that's some fucked up shit right there. And the people who are defending him, they go, she asked for it, she provoked him. It's like, this is why women don't come forward in situations of domestic violence or assault or whatnot. These people say, you're making it up. When it's exactly what happened is recorded, and you still get horrible little pond scum pieces of shit saying, oh no, he didn't do anything wrong. It's just like, oh my God. Absolutely horrific. Some people, absolutely horrific. As I had an well, it's a little bit old now because it's from when David Bowie died. While everyone's going like, oh, R.I.P. Bowie, you're a legend. Da, da, da. A few people were jumping up going, stop saying Bowie was great. He was a child rapist in the 70s. And Bowie was part of a scene, according to all available evidence, for a short time, which was known as baby groupies. It's really fucking disturbing. It was this whole scene. I think it was mainly in California, but it was basically, and again, the available evidence is this was mothers pushing their kids on rock stars, and this is like 11 to 13-year-old girls was the most common, and some really big names were into this. Like Bowie did get involved with at least one of these girls, and but other very well-known rock stars were way into it and seriously criminal shit. And I made a video saying, at the time, Bowie saying, oh, you might have seen this stuff, people calling David Bowie a pedophile rapist. What does that mean? And then I sort of looked at it and went like, he was in that scene. He didn't seem to be a repeat offender in it, and there's no excusing what he did. He knew it was wrong. Everyone involved in the scene. It's a really creepy seeing people saying, oh, but those girls wanted to get with those rock stars. We have laws, and the law is a child can't consent to sexual activity with an adult. And every adult involved knew they were breaking a very serious law. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew it was illegal, and they did it anyway. Bowie didn't make a habit of it, and it didn't seem to be a recurring thing through his life. So it's like, there's no question he did it, and it was inexcusable. There's no defense for it whatsoever. It was wrong. He knew it was wrong, and he did it anyway. I mean, he was young, and all this stuff was being thrust upon him, but at the end of the day, it was wrong, and he knew it was wrong. But at least, you know, he didn't do it long term like some of these rock stars did. And I still get comments on that all this time later. And there was one just today with this person who writes a fucking essay about how, oh no, it wasn't rape, it was not pedophilia, blah, 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 blah. And my only response was, well, it was rape. It's rape. It was rape under laws then, and everyone involved knew what it was. And this was like this super long comment this person wrote, and I went, I can't think of anyone except a pedophile rapist who would write an essay in defense of this behavior. Like, what sort of fucked up, sick piece of shit are you? Rob, yes, and he slept with Mick Jagger. The legend is on the wedding night. When David Bowie married Angela Bowie, the legend is Mick Jagger was in bed with them. Oh, they were a wild bunch, those rock and rollers. Like in the the Queen movie that came out a little while just recently, Bohemian Rhapsody, which a lot of people are upset at because so much of it is bullshit, either stuff that didn't happen or it's out of order or whatever. I just really enjoyed it with all the music and whatnot. And you got a hint about how decadent Freddie Mercury's parties were. I remember seeing a doco, and it was about roadies, and it was all these old blokes, and they were old blokes because they'd been roadies in the 70s and like for huge acts, and they were telling stories. And this one guy, and he's just going, because he'd been a roadie possibly since the 60s, and he's just talking about, man, I was a roadie for Hendrix and the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin, and then for Queen, and I tell you what, none of them come close to Freddie Mercury for just absolutely bacchanalian parties. And the guy just kind of laughed and shook his head and said, I'm going to hell just for things I saw at Freddie Mercury's parties. And for someone who'd been with all these hardcore old school rock bands, just going, none of them came close to Freddie Mercury for just pure debauchery. And Freddie, to the best of my knowledge, was never linked with anyone underage. It's a weird and strange world, though, so who knows? I often wonder, it's like, there was a case recently here in Australia, like just in the last couple of weeks, where a dude, his wife disappeared almost 40 years ago. He's 70 now, and there'd been some new investigation on the case in the last year. It was one of those cases that was covered on a true crime podcast, and the cops did more investigation last year, presented their findings to the Department of Public Prosecutions, who said, yep, you've got enough evidence, proceed. And they've arrested this dude. And I don't know if he's been formally charged yet. I lost track, but there was the expectation he was going to be charged with her murder. 40 years later, he's 70. Could you imagine if you had done that? If you had committed a murder 40 years ago and basically thought you'd got away with it, and then you're sitting at home and you're 70 and the cops rock up and go, you're nicked. That would be so fucking weird. And also, you know, I did spend a bit of time speculating, what's this guy going to be like? Like, would he have spent the intervening years, assuming he's guilty, would he have spent the intervening years being tortured by guilt, you know, having bad dreams and whatnot? Or, you know, is he a fucking psychopath who killed someone and never felt a moment's remorse? But that whole thing, if, you know, could you imagine if you murdered someone, thought you got away with it, and then got arrested 40 years later? That's so fucking weird. I'm glad you like my pussy milk, my man tits. She likes attention. She loves being here in the crowd. Yes, get a bit of scritching going on. She's been sleeping for most of the stream so far, but now she wants a bit of attention. Yes. Yeah. Oh, God, Rob. Freddie put the anal in Bacchanalian. Yes, true. Yeah, Pusher, I think you're right, but there's possibly some re-examination of forensics might have got him. But there's also like these creepy fuckers, celebrities particularly, who are being prosecuted now, like, you know, Bill Cosby, who got away with his behavior for decades. And like a lot of stuff coming out of, you know, TV and movie stars and pop stars who did shit in the 70s and 80s and having to face the music for it now. Again, could you imagine, like, if you were part of that scene, and this is the people who fall under this banner, people with power, like politicians, media people, music industry people, film people. You are treated as being above everyone. You could do whatever you want. All your horrible misdeeds were covered up. And suddenly, down the track, you're prosecuted for it. Like, how fucking weird is it? But this is the thing, like murder, the person doing it knew they were wrong. They knew they were wrong at the time. They were just convinced they could get away with it. And then for an extended period, they did. So it was just reinforced. Hey, I can get away with it. I can do this. And then their disbelief and incredulousness now, in many cases, decades later, like, what? I'm being held responsible for these awful, reprehensible things I did. Where's the fairness in that? It's like, what the fuck? It's like, well, you shouldn't have fucking done it, should you? Yes, Bury, Wild Mimsy in the background. Oh, Rob, you reckon Gene Simmons needs to be taken down? Yeah, he would be on the list if stories came out about him. He would be on the list of least surprising perpetrators. Seriously, he's a horrible person. You read a bunch of interviews with him and go, oh my God, he's awful. He is actually awful. I was into Kiss back in the day, and then you read interviews with Gene Simmons and you go, oh my God, he's awful. What the hell? Yes, but not everyone who's awful is an actual criminal, and not everyone you think is nice is an inherently good person. You get so many of these cases of, rapists particularly, getting all these people line up to defend them. That's not the guy I know. No, he's great. No, that is the guy you know. That's what the guy you know. Like, this is when people, when they're convicted on incontrovertible evidence, and it's happened a few times here in Australia with footballers. Footballers are convicted of extremely violent abuse of their partner or rape of someone. And when they're convicted, you get these people from their club going, oh, I just want to speak up for him. Everyone's demonising. He's a top bloke. He's not a fucking top bloke. What the fuck are you doing? Oh, my first sign. That's a big one. What if Mr. Rogers was a serial killer? You already saw that. It was so much fun reading people who were slavish worshippers of George Pell, up to and including when he was charged with historical sex offences. And I'm just wondering how they're feeling now. If someone's going to get a public statement from them. Yes, and I did hear that piece of shit who ran down everyone at the Nazi rally in Charlottesville. He was found guilty of murder, not of vehicular manslaughter, found guilty of murder, sentenced to life plus a bunch of years in prison. Fuck that guy. Because that was premeditated attempt to murder a whole bunch of people and successfully murdering one. It's like, wow. Yes, shelf warmer, that's a perfect example. Wayne Carey, decades of being a piece of shit, but they keep putting him on TV. He's like, he's a footy bloke. I have to admit, the funniest one, and people who aren't football tragics might not even know this, remember this. Certainly if you're not Australian, this never would have been on your radar. But this guy, Wayne Carey, he was the captain of one of the biggest football teams in the Melbourne competition, the Australian rules competition, the North Melbourne Kangaroos. And apparently he was banging his vice captain's wife. And there was a party, I don't know if it was a Christmas party or something, at the vice captain's house. And Wayne Carey was actually banging the party hostess in the toilet. And I think it was the hubby, the vice captain, who kicked in the toilet door. It was just like, what a piece of shit. Who does that? What an absolute piece of shit. Now, there was nothing criminal in that. That was completely consensual. It was just really shitty behavior. Like, and how could anyone who's going, oh, blokes, that's like the ultimate betrayal of a teammate. That was such a dog act. And you know, he still gets on TV. People still defend him. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the endless defenses, and yeah, people come up against a wall when it's someone they like who turns out to be guilty of something bad. Like, I've been having to deal with an absolutely creepy number of rape apologists over the last couple of weeks because some fuckhead made a video attacking me about a video I did ages ago saying Louis C.K. is a piece of shit. Louis C.K. had been my favorite comedian for years, had all his stuff, regularly watched his stuff, and there'd been these rumors about him for years. And for when I first time, I thought, because they were anonymous, and I thought, God, I wish someone would put their name to this, because if it's true, fuck this guy. But the fact that no one's coming forward, it's really hard to, on these vague anonymous rumors, make any judgment. But then people came forward, and he admitted all the stories he'd been denying for years were 100% true, and he's a creepy, horrible piece of shit. And his apology was absolutely self-serving and worthless. And now he's just decided, like a year later, I've been out of the public eye long enough, I'm going to start doing high-profile comedy. It's like, fuck you, man. You're a piece of fucking shit. And this creepy bunch of fucking rape apologists who'd been given a script to go, oh, he asked permission, and it was like, again, like the one I was talking about with the David Bowie video, of someone who would defend rock stars. I'm going to say fucking underage girls, but it's not. Legally, it's rape. It's there's no statute that doesn't say it's rape because they're fucking children. And someone who'd defend that piece of shit who hit his wife on a live stream. People who would defend Louis C.K. I really only think one sort of person would do that. Someone who sees themselves in that. Either it's behavior they do, they know it's behavior they do, or they identify with the person who did it. They'd do it if they could get away with it. That's the only thought that occurs to me. The people who insist on defending these horrible, reprehensible individuals is just like, well, you think that's acceptable behavior. Obviously, you see yourself in that. And if you were forced to acknowledge that behavior, you'd be forced to acknowledge there's something in you that's bad. Jared Hayne, is that the guy who hit his wife on the live stream? Because there were a whole fuck ton of horrible little freakazoids defending him. It's absolutely fucking creepy how awful people are. It's like, yeah, I have a very low opinion of humans in general. Virtually every bad thing that happens, people say, how could that happen? How could someone do it? How could you? Well, the short answer is people are shit. Okay, that explains basically everything that's ever gone wrong in the history of humanity. The central problem is people are shit. And yeah. All right, how's the suppressed person on bail? I assume because he's got grounds for appeal. But sometimes I don't know how the criminal justice system works, and sometimes people who have been found guilty of a serious crime and are, you know, a dangerous offender and are convicted, they're not sentenced at the point they're convicted, and they're allowed on bail awaiting sentencing. It's like, what in the actual like, there was a serial rapist in Australia recently. He was convicted, but he was released pending sentencing. It's like, but you're going to sentence him, so just fucking put him away. It's like, I really don't understand sometimes. Oh, Rob, Jared is a rugby player who is a piece of work, and he's going to face just sex charges in the US. Awesome. There's a lot of awful people. Yes, Raiders, as far as I understand it, the media are arguing against the suppression order. And yeah, their big argument will be, it's pointless. Everyone knows it's been published around the world. You look like an idiot for saying we can't publish it. And I know there are a lot of people going like, oh, the whole fair trial thing, which, and again, I said right at the start, in general, I agree with these types of things. When a judge says, okay, I'm suppressing the details of the history of this person because they need to get a fair trial, and because if you don't give them a fair trial, their defense can say, my client can't get a fair trial. You should call them mistrial and they should go free. So someone who's guilty as fuck can go free because the case is regarded as being prejudiced. And this is why Tommy Robinson should be in jail in the UK for doing that shit repeatedly. And hopefully he still will go to jail for that. But in this case, it's pointless. It's like, it's been reported around the world. But anyway. Oh, wow. Raiders. You're really into it. Lawyer X. I've never talked about that. This is a super weird case. If you haven't heard of this, this is a thing happening in Australia, here in Victoria, in fact, and it's quite the drama. It turns out a lawyer who was representing a bunch of organised crime figures in Australia, at some point she decided her clients were super bad people and she was going to turn informant for the cops. And she asked for money and stuff from the cops to do this. But it's like, the absolute central thing for lawyers is protect your client's confidentiality. So this is throwing the absolute most basic principle of being a lawyer out the window. Volunteering to give evidence on your clients to the cops. Bunch of bad people. But it's so surreal. And this went on for ages. Even though the cops involved knew, this is dodgy as fuck. And if it comes out, it will jeopardize a whole bunch of cases. But they went along with it, and apparently it went on for years, and now it's finally come out, and I think there's going to be a Royal Commission into it. But it's like, full on, could you imagine? This is the thing. This lawyer wasn't, this is not like Tom Cruise in The Firm, where he got cornered by the feds. No, this lawyer volunteered, went to the cops and said, I'll inform on my clients because they're rat bastards. I don't like them. It's like, woo, okay. So yeah, it's a really full-on thing for a lawyer to do. And it's a super full-on thing for the cops to go along with. You know, cops tend to go with, oh, I want to get someone at any cost. But even you do something like this, it's incredibly high risk because say you got someone who's a horrible, guilty, violent, terrible criminal, and you finally got them and put them away. and then it comes out you got them this way, even though maybe they are guilty as sin, like they're the worst, most violent crim ever, and we're all better off with them being put away. They can end up getting released because, well, you broke the rules in getting them. Like, man, Dirk, how you doing? I've actually been quite well. Thank you for asking. I hope you've been well too. Yeah, things proceed apace. Getting to the end of the year, I think I started a new job a month ago, and I think they're shutting down for 2 weeks. Almost everyone does this now. Like offices, a huge number of offices basically do an enforced 2-week shutdown because they worked out. I think they basically worked out no work gets done around the Christmas, New Year's period, and it actually saves them an enormous amount of money if people are gone for 2 weeks. Like, people have to take leave or leave without pay, or if you're a contractor like me, you're just not getting paid because you're not there. Yeah, it apparently saves them an enormous amount of money. And yeah, that's going to happen to me. I actually don't mind. It's like yeah, all those things. You wake up and got to go to work and think, oh, I don't want to go. Yeah. This I can sort of survive and go, I'm only going to do this for a couple of weeks, and then I get 2 weeks off. Which, that's super slack to just go, oh, I want to take 2 weeks off. Music Elevator, you want your office to shut? Oh my God, you're working Christmas Eve and then the 27th, 28th. Are you working for the NBN? Yeah. Yeah, well, it's not everyone, but it's a lot of things. As a Dirk, tradies tend to shut down for about 2 weeks around Christmas as well. And you're working Saturday this week. Man, they're running you into the ground. Wow. I just had a thing, I've got, 8 competing priorities, projects I have to do work for. I work in IT. Doing project documentation, and there's 8 different things that I've got to juggle. And yeah, one of those things. I had a meeting this morning to talk about one, and of my high priority 8, it was probably at the bottom of the list. It was being treated as the least important. And yeah, then we had this meeting and talked about what was required and why we had to do it. And suddenly it becomes #1 priority. And people involved, the first one's going to be, I was just like, all right, so I've got to work like a motherfucker on this for the next couple of days. And then for the next couple of weeks, oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's work. God damn it. Yes, Rob, as that saying goes, work will set you free. Fancy drink. This is just lemonade. But we're almost at halfway mark. I might make myself a drink. Will, I am well this evening. How are you? Yes, proceeding on. I certainly are. I have a lot of stuff I could choose to make a drink. Actually, oh my God. Because I kind of invented a new drink recently. And I might try it. Josh. Yes, Josh has been around. Josh has been around. Made Josh a whiskey sour or 2. I don't think I want to make anything that fiddly tonight. But I kind of invented a new drink recently with flavored vodkas, and I might try another variation of that. Will, glad you're well. Adu's okay. He actually joined us via phone on Tuesday's live stream. He had a bit of fun talking his normal outrageous and completely off the wall stuff that he normally talks about. So yeah, he's soldiering on. He's still having all manner of misadventures in medical world. It's all like when I call him or message him and say, what's happened? I haven't heard from you a while. I'll just get a thing about medical adventures. And it's just like, yeah, that's normally involves tests and being poked and prodded and blood tests and things stuck in him. all over the place. Dirk, as we all DP. Well, it's interesting you should say about ADSy and DP, quite honestly. Because the various probes here, because he has a lot of intestinal problems. So sometimes they'll stick the probe up his butt, you know, the camera, what do they call it? Is it an endoscope? The little fiber optic camera up his butt, and sometimes they'll stick it down his throat to go into his stomach and see what's happening. And sometimes, if he's really lucky, they do both of them at once. And he told me once when the doctor said that they were actually he was going to be, I don't know if he was on, where are you going, Mimsy? Stay up there. I don't know if he was on general anesthetic or if it was just a local anesthetic and muscle. No, she wants to go for a walk. Fair enough. If it was just muscle relaxant, and they said, yeah, they were going to do both ends at the same time in this procedure, and he went, oh, finger cuffs, and they were like, what? Have you ever heard that saying? I think I first heard it in the Kevin Smith film Mallrats. I think it's doing it. Dirk, it's okay. Spelling errors are okay. I get that you're on a phone. That's okay. Yeah, Joshua, they were basically, they didn't know he had some intestinal problem. I think there's some internal bleeding, and they weren't sure where it was. And yeah, so they actually wanted to go both ends and explore it from both ends with the finger cuffs. Oh, Mimsy didn't go away for long. Your perch is a little bit wobbly there, isn't it? Every time you sit on that and it wobbles, I think, should get a screwdriver out and try and fix that for you, and I never do. Sorry, musical elevator. Did Data have things stuck up his robot? Oh, Neon, it was chasing Amy that had the finger. Oh, yes, it was too. Yes. Yes, it's just, I knew it was one I hadn't seen for a long time. Well, look at that. I stopped patting her, so she's just rubbing herself on me. You're desperate for attention. You're a floozy, Mimsy. Oh, Josh, you're worried about getting bitten by mosquitoes. You should be. You should be. You never know what you can get from being bitten by mosquitoes. This AngryAussie had his worst medical misadventure by being bitten by an ant. It just cracks. She does this she tends to sleep on my side of the bed as well, and she'll do that as well. Sit next to me and I'll pat her and say, there you go, settle down. And then she'll just rub up against my hand saying, no, pat me more. Oh, Dirk, yeah, Queensland mosquitoes would be very hard. Oh, musical elevator. Data got caught in finger cuffs. Yes, they were always fun as a kid because for those who aren't familiar with them, the traditional finger cuffs or the so-called Chinese finger trap is a woven tube. Traditionally, it's like woven out of strips of bamboo. And you put your fingers in either end, and then someone says, like, take your fingers out. And if you just pull, what happens is it's sort of contraction of your finger, and it tightens, and you literally cannot get your fingers out. Like you could rip your fingers out by the root before this thing would give them up. What you actually have to do is really gently twist in the right direction and get your finger, because pulling won't work. Like these things are usually strong enough that you'll rip your fingers out of your hand before this thing will let your finger go. So you have to learn the trick of very calmly twisting and getting out. Toronto Maple Leafer. All the Aussies going live. Oh, no, I'm not getting hammered by storms. It did rain this morning. But yeah, apparently the east coast of New South Wales, from Newcastle to Wollongong, like one of them is like, I don't know, 100 kilometers north of Sydney, and the other one's 100 kilometers south. Apparently that whole strip of coast is just getting smashed by a really severe storm and hail and everything. We did not get that. I don't think we're even going to get the residue of it. I mean, let me look. What's the weather say? What's the weather say? Rain. Ooh. Oh no, tomorrow's rain, apparently. Tomorrow, possibly a thunderstorm with heavy falls. But nothing like the storm that's hitting Sydney and surrounds. But probably a lot of rain tomorrow. And over the weekend as well. What are they saying? Thunderstorm in the... This people think, do you have an exciting life, Angry? My life is so exciting. What I'm doing is looking at the weekend and going, oh my God, is there going to be enough break without rain for me to hang washing on the line? These are my big concerns. Oh yeah, I did hear that musical about it. A bit of the Hume flash flooded and a bunch of vehicles got stuck and people had to be airlifted out by helicopters. Oh, Josh, you want the big storm, do you? It rained a fair bit this morning. Going to work this morning was a very damp affair. Musical about random 16-year-old and her dad made the news because her name was Destiny McPhail. That's pretty weird. Okay. Sesame Street was flooded. Oh, it sounds like crickets or cicadas starting up outside. Yes, Josh, you need to watch the news so you know what's going on, mate. Toronto Maple Leafs was not a cyclone, but it was a really fierce storm. The tropical north gets tropical cyclones. Like Darwin famously got smashed by Cyclone Tracy Christmas 1975. The town got leveled. And Queensland gets cyclones and severe tropical storms. I don't think there's a cyclone. Let me check. What do we want? We want to check Australia cyclone warning. Where are we? Australia cyclone. Is there any news saying... Ooh, wait, here we go. Yes. There is one. Going to hit Queensland. Queensland warned tropical cyclone Owen could become destructive Category 4. So that's Friday. Fierce winds and rain. So yeah, that could be quite bad. There's some evacuations going on already. So tropical cyclone, very heavy rain. If often we get the remnants of the rain about 2 or 3 days later, it works its way down the coast. But it doesn't always. But yeah, it sounds like Queensland is in danger of getting absolutely smashed by this storm. And if that's a Cat 4 going up there, that does mean the weather predictions generally are going to be fairly volatile. So although there's not severe rain or anything forecast here, that could change. I heard that before, BSK, but we're going to think the zombie cyclone? Why has it been called the zombie cyclone? I don't get it. Tropical cyclone Owen. So yes, that's the thing with living in the tropics. You get really severe storms and cyclones. It's a little bit risky. Yes, philosopher Mimsy is here. She very briefly went away, and I thought she was going to go away, but then she thought, no, my adoring public is watching. I think she knows that everyone's watching her, so she came back. I just thought of something. I'm just going to fiddle with my desktop a little bit, you know. Bear with me. Right, that's good. That's good. That's good. And this here, and this here. I'm just moving stuff around. Yes. No, that works. That's good. Okay. All right. So the zombie storm is because hurricanes make landfall, die out, go back to ocean, and regroup. I get it. Okay. I see. Okay. I'm getting an education tonight. The reason we call it a zombie cyclone is because it's already made landfall, gone out to sea, and reformed. There you go. So that's a thing I learned. Why it gets called a zombie cyclone? Oh, I genuinely was not familiar with that. That's something new to me. Okay, now the cicadas. I don't even know if you can hear them, but the cicadas are picking up in volume outside. We didn't have them so much last summer, so I don't really know why they're much noisier this summer, but they are. You can hear the cicadas. Yeah, they are reasonably loud. Yeah, there's like a Tumblr joke I saw about that. Like, imagine, at some point in the past where humans didn't know what cicadas were, didn't know they were making the noise, but just, in summer when the noise started, people would just be going, "Well, the trees are screaming again." It's like, orange place. Oh, do you see that suddenly alert look? I think some food is being put in the food tray outside, and Mimsy's hearing it and thinking she should maybe run and check it out. Oh yeah, Tumblr, RAP Tumblr, Toronto Maple Leaf. Haven't talked about that. That's a bizarre one. For those who don't know Tumblr, there's a lot of wild shit on it. It's basically a blogging site. People do weird stuff. I never really wrapped my head around Tumblr, but I know GIFs are very big on Tumblr. People communicating via GIFs on Tumblr a lot, and some way out stuff on Tumblr. Like, it's a joke that you'd freak out some girls by going, "I saw your Tumblr," and they go, "Oh, did you like it?" And go, "Your other Tumblr," because the amount of people who had secret Tumblrs that had all their kinky sex fetishes on it. And apparently, there was quite an issue with child porn on Tumblr, and eventually there were enough complaints that Apple took Tumblr off the App Store and said, "No, you've got this awful child porn on there. You can't be in the App Store." And that's where they get most of their new users. So the Tumblr people freaked out, and they've gone and said, "No adult content whatsoever." So, like, no nudity. And it's the most extreme case of throwing the baby out with the bathwater that I've ever seen. And it's and seriously, Tumblr saying we're going to ban all adult content is Tumblr saying, "Oh, we're going to voluntarily kill 95% of our traffic." And yes, they've got that weird phrase they've been using now, "no female presenting nipples," whatever the fuck that means. But basically, the bot they've built to seek out nudity is tragically bad and is making terrible mistakes. And they're saying as of the 17th of December, they were going to totally shut down all adult content. And it's like, dudes, that's insane. Just police the bad stuff. You are literally killing your site. It's absolutely surreal. And as a lot of people pointed out, maybe they should be a bit more worried about Nazis than nipples, because they've got an enormous number of ultra Nazi blogs on there, like huge amounts of it. And mind you, Musical Aviator, you make a good point that that porn traffic's not exactly advertiser friendly, nor are they paying users. I love that phrase, Toronto Maple Leafer. Safe for work Tumblr accounts are being Thanosed without warning. Yes, basically, the program Tumblr developed to detect unacceptable content is terrible. It's just like hideously, appallingly flawed, and is deleting absolutely benign content, like sand, apparently. Some people worked out what the algorithm Tumblr developed was doing. It was trying to detect if a certain percentage of the image was bare flesh. And they apparently just had a really shitty detective algorithm that tried to measure how much of an image was Caucasian flesh colored. So it was flagging pictures of sand because the sand was close to Caucasian flesh color. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, musically better. You're right. Unless Tumblr's like Anakin Skywalker, I don't like sand. That's possible. Neon. Okay, yeah, you use Tumblr to reblog cute animal pictures for your sister. Got flagged as adult. I haven't even checked. The only thing I do on Tumblr, my what do you call it? Instagram pictures automatically get posted to Tumblr. That's literally all I post to Tumblr. It'd be weird. That might have got flagged. I don't know. The first thing I saw upon opening Tumblr was that anime meme, the guy with the glasses looking at the butterfly saying, "Is this?" And they've labeled the butterfly's skin and the guy's Tumblr, and he's saying, "Is this hardcore porn?" And it's like, it's astonishing how badly they handle it. Where's my stuff? How do you find out if your stuff's been flagged? Like, none of my stuff should, because it's my super benign Instagram posts. But a lot of really benign stuff has ended up getting flagged. I don't know. It doesn't look like my stuff's been flagged, but who knows? But yeah, Tumblr seemed to be, yea, verily committing suicide with this. I looked through a couple dozen of my pictures and I didn't see any flags, and I didn't get any notices saying my posts have been flagged. From the stories I've been hearing, I'd be amazed if none of mine had been flagged, just because of the colors in the street art, particularly. Oh dear. Music Aviator. It's coarse and rough and irritating, gets everywhere. Seriously, the dialogue in the Star Wars prequels was so bad, and the love stuff with Anakin and Padme. I remember watching that and just thinking, has George Lucas ever talked to a girl? Is that a thing he's done? Because it doesn't seem that way. Oh, Neon, if you open your blog without being signed in, that will show if it's flagged. Okay. I might look into that. I'm not sure I can be bothered. Because like I said, literally all I've ever done on Tumblr is my Instagram posts were automatically posted there. I've never done anything Tumblr specific. I've never written posts for Tumblr. So I don't know. Dirk, thoughts on Patreon leaking? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yes, philosopher, Mimsy's wandered away. She's over the other side of the kitchen. She might come back because she wandered off once before and I don't know, got bored and came back. Walking back towards me, she might go back on the perch. Well, yes, you're right, musical elevator. Anakin had never talked to a girl. But yeah, I just got the impression that Anakin's dialogue was so bad because George Lucas had never talked to a girl. Celtic King, Tara has not been in for a long time. Tara really overreacted to someone one night, and I said, hey, calm down a bit. You're overreacting. And she said as a result of that, she's never coming back because it's too stressful. And I was like, okay. Tendo, you think Palpatine had good lines? I thought it was really funny. Someone posting like the best thing about the prequels is the memes. The prequels are like a meme factory, and they are. There are so many memes from the prequels. It's quite mind-boggling. There aren't that abundance of memes from the original trilogy. There's not an abundance of memes from the new ones, but there's a super big abundance of memes from the prequel trilogy. It's really quite weird. I don't know what that is. It just slipped into the psyche of certain people, maybe. And it might be it. Dirk, I still don't know what you mean by Patreon are leaking users and creators. Wow, I think there is now a cicada right outside the door because the cicada noise is getting much louder. Super weird. Have you ever actually like caught a cicada? I thought Mimsy might come back. Yes, all right, I'll give you a scratch because you came back. And everyone gets Mimsy scritches by proxy. Yes, Tendai, I think that's the most enduring of the prequel memes. I have the high ground. Dirk, I did hear Sargon was banned. I have severe doubts a lot of people are bailing on Patreon. I think the right-wing shitbags often try and whip up a bit of hysteria about it. I don't think Patreon is hurting at all. As still millions of dollars going through it every day. I think any talk of Patreon suffering is hype and lies from butthurt people who got kicked off the platform. So, yes, and it just reminds me of the fun stories about Milo Yiannopoulos being broke, millions of dollars in debt. Deplatforming fascists works. And anyone who owns any sort of platform or media outlet needs to wake the fuck up that putting hideous fucking bigots on your platform is not balance. You don't need to put a fucking Nazi on to go, I wonder what the Nazis are thinking. The Nazis are always thinking the same thing. And it's bullshit to give them air. Music area. Will the EU's Prop 13 kill prequel memes? No, they keep saying that it won't affect memes, but there seem to be absolutely serious flaws in Prop 13. See, the basic thing of this Prop 13 is, hey, a lot of these internet platforms are making money from the work of creators without ever giving recompense to creators. So these platforms should be responsible for paying creators if that someone's attention should be responsible for paying creators if their work appears on these platforms. And the idea is not totally without merit, but the way the EU have done it seems really fucked up and seems purely built to benefit big media companies and offer no benefit whatsoever to creators, particularly not smaller independent creators. Doesn't help them at all. Toronto Maple, I think Article 13 might be the right name for it. Celtic King, can you give me a hug? Yeah, sure, over the internet, man. I mean, the actual recipient of attention at the moment is Mimsy, but knock yourself out. Yeah, it's the EU seems very heavy-handed with a lot of the regulation. They're kind of looking at things and going, hey, I feel like that company's unfairly benefiting on their platform. And they just come up with really shithouse ways to handle it. And yeah, this one seems to be really shithouse. So, Musical Airhead, you got a copyright strike on YouTube because of wind noise sounded like a dubstep song. I don't have any copyright strikes now, but I've had people make claims, and that was as actual just like GarageBand loops that have been used. You know, basically GarageBand is like, you can use this, and a friend of mine created backing tracks out of mixing some GarageBand loops, and some dipshit claimed copyright on it. And I was like, no, dude, that's fucking GarageBand. What are you talking about? But there was a link to what they said was their music, and I followed it and listened to it, and they fucking made like a techno track out of GarageBand, hardly changed it at all, and then released it commercially and said they own it, which is actually a breach of GarageBand terms of use. You're doing it commercially. It was just like, it was so surreal. So I just filed counterclaims and it got kicked out. But yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. So guess I'll be having none of those shenanigans. Thanks, Matt. Yes, PBR. We shan't tempt the actual laws in Australia on that. As we've been discussing, I think all the media companies are lodging an appeal with the court saying the suppression order is pointless because it's been reported around the world and everyone knows, so stop making us look stupid and let us report. We shall see what happens in that. Oh yeah, Toronto Maple Leaf. False copyright claims could be quite damaging at various points in YouTube's history. Fortunately, whenever I've contested one, I've always won. See, Tendai, you're getting past me there. Use the Jim Sterling branded copyright deadlock and dance to Erasure. I recognize those words, but I don't know. Will I write some angry scriptures? Maybe. Might have an angry drink first. Maybe the lime and the coconut drink, actually. I don't remember what was in that other one I made, and I decided I really liked it. But I might do that. Okay. First thing I need is some ice. My knees. God damn it. Yes, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just here. Don't panic. Ooh, wow. The cicada just stopped. That's so surreal. Make some ice. Oops. drop some nuts. Ice, baby. And I want this and this. My little components. And this. What else do I want? I want this. All right. And I might get this. Right. Make myself a beverage. Right. Yes, Celtic, and I think just this, my channel generally is the Angry Scriptures. Oh my God, musical AV, your 80th spell gets killed by rain. That's awful. Normally 3 or 4 MIPS. After rain, 0.3 to 1 MIPS. That's awful. So, a bit of lemonade because it's in a tall glass. Bit of Captain Morgan. Put that in. Video Captain Morgan. All right. And so this coconut juice, pineapple coconut. Then there. And because the song says you put the lime into coconut, I've got this cocktail mixing lime cordial, just a little bit of that because it's quite strong. Now let me get this straight. You put the lime into coconut and drink it all up. All right, top it off a little. A bit more lemonade. And I don't have my mixing spoon. I use my finger. Ah! Dirk, suspenders and skinny little hips like yours don't match. I'm a big man. That's why I have suspenders. I just like suspenders. These ones have like musical instruments on them. Quite like them. So to know, where you talk about Nintendo, throw the stuff that gets flagged by Content ID and watch them battle it out. Oh, I get it. That's what Jim Sterling said. It's copyright Thunderdome. Yeah, don't worry. They will go after you if you do multiple infringements by different companies. They will go after you. So that looks a bit cloudy, doesn't it? Kind of looks like cloudy cider. Tastes very good though. Belinda, hello, how are you? I think I need to trim my mustache. It's going in my drink. So this is the thing with a mustache, if it gets a bit long and you have a drink, then you got this wet mustache on your top lip. Not the best feeling in the world, but that's okay. Celtic King, you like cock. You have made that fairly clear, actually. So good for you, buddy. Ah, oh shit. I'm so uncoordinated. I almost knocked it over, and it's a big glass. It's like 500 mils. That would get in the way. So, yes, I normally keep it trimmed above the lip, but it's got a little bit long. Okay, out of left field, like we've been talking about, you know, every now and then we talk about trolls and whatnot, and I occasionally have the weirdest shit comments from trolls, like stuff that's just weirdly and obviously factually incorrect. Like they've just latched onto a word as an insult and they use it even as nonsensical. And the one that for some reason always weirds me out is they call me a neckbeard when I'm like the opposite. Look, see, I shave my neck. It's a chin strap. If you want to somehow use my facial hair as an insult, you would say chin strap. Saying neckbeard just makes you look stupid. Like, because the neckbeard, that was those guys, and this was like, I don't know, guys started doing it like somewhere in 10, 15 years ago. They thought it was a good look, where they would actually shave all here, and this bit of my dinner was in my beard. What the hell? Okay. And they'd only have the hair down here, and hence neck beard, because there's only their neck. And you just, oh, your neck beard, and going, I'm patently, clearly not a neck beard. It's just like you heard that as an insult once, and it's like, and your tiny little brain can't come up with anything else. It's like really weird. Oh yes, Belinda, Theresa May survived a no confidence vote over breakfast. She survived it really strongly, in fact. That was, I mean, actually when those people moved to no confidence vote on it, I was a little surprised. But they did, and they got the numbers to have a no confidence vote. And she won the no confidence vote quite convincingly, which again, I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting people to move the no confidence vote against her. But when it happened, I didn't expect her to win really convincingly, but she had a really solid win on the vote. So now the people who move the no confidence look like dickheads, basically. I mean, they already look like dickheads in my humble opinion, but because their motion failed so badly, they really look like dickheads now. Yeah, Toronto Maple Leaf, right. It's like a general, it's become a general insult. Like it means a specific thing. And I almost have hope sometimes when, because of the various breeds of trolls I get attacking me. I get a lot of the MRAs, men's rights advocates, and associated misogynists. And a lot of them use incel as an insult. That's what I go, insult as an insult. No, incel as an insult. And well, good, at least you think that's an insult. Incels are fucking awful. And except most of the incels are also MRAs, but at least a whole bunch of these misogynists think incel is an insult. So there is that. But yeah, it's so weird when people say something that they think is an insult, and they appear completely oblivious to the fact all they've done is make themselves look stupid. I think it's a bit of Dunning-Kruger going on there, in that they're too stupid to understand. There's a Captain Morgan's thing there. It's like I'm advertising it. No, go over there. Go out of shot. Captain Morgan, sponsor me. No, I don't. Well, I was about to say I don't like it that much, but now I've found a few drinks within it that I like. Hello, Tim. How are you? You've come in just to see my product placement in the hope that hello, you've come back. I thought you might. Yes. Okay, you can get a pat, Mimsy. Oh wow. Toronto Maple Leaf, it's 5:30 a.m. Just going to turn off the Christmas lights. Dirk, buy shares. Well, buy shares in Captain Morgan. Can you buy shares in Captain Morgan? Yes, philosopher Mimsy's come back and demanding attention. He really wasn't. Tim, you may well be right. The Kraken's better. This was on special. This is a big bottle of it too at Costco. Like a litre, I think. It's a bit bigger than normal. Is it a litre? I thought it was a litre. Where's the thing saying how much is in here? Yes. I know, you want attention. I think this is a litre. Why is there nothing saying how much it holds? Okay, I think it's a litre. Normally there's 750 mils. Anywho, yes, philosopher, virtual pats to Mimsy. I'll do the pats. Thanks, Tim. Everybody's special. PBR, an eye patch, so I can be very piratical. Yes, but this is This is the Captain Morgan drink I've invented that I like. The lime and coconut. It's got pineapple coconut juice and some lime cordial, and it's very nice. Ooh, who's out there, Mimsy? Who's out there? Oh wait, I think there's a fucking possum out there. There's a possum outside the door. Wait a sec. It'll probably run away if I go there. I could take the camera over there. I actually thought that was Mrs. Angry out there doing something, and then this possum noise started. Here, I'm going to see if we can see it. It'll probably just run away when I go over there. I'm going to disconnect this from the power supply. I don't want to trip over any cords. Unplug the mouse. All right, let's go over here. See if we can, oh my God, I'm tangled up in stuff. Right, do that. Right, let's go over here. What if it's a murderer and not a possum? You get to see me murdered on a live stream. One's just here making a lot of noise. All right, I'm outside now. It's going to Blair Witch time. No, I thought it had just run away when I came out here. Can't hear it anywhere now. It's very dark out here. All right, I'm going to go back inside. So much for that little adventure. Close the screen. Well, I just thought I'd give us a bit of an adventure there. Bit of an anticlimax, really. But there you go. All right. Oh, settle down again. All right, you can connect a few things. Put my power back on. Don't know how good the battery on this laptop is. Dirk, you get water rats the size of Mimsy. Yes, they can get quite large, Theris marsupials. I smile in it. Yes, we were going walkies there for a bit of variety. So Celtic, I like that. Possums are known for murder. Yes, Megaleech, the drop bears were a serious risk right there. Tim, your question, I actually did see that. That was, I don't know if we have any woodworkers here. What's the best type of timber to use when making jaws for a carpenter's voice? Hardwood, I would imagine. Hardly an expert on these things. It's like Australia would be going like ironbark or something, the stuff they make telephone poles out of. Music about it. Speaking of murder, had a murder of crows on your back fence. It's crowing at like 5 a.m. I like crows are a bit I like the song that both magpies and currawongs do. Magpies have this warble that they do that I find really appealing, and currawongs do this multi-note thing, which I can't replicate. And yeah, it's quite a pleasing sound. Oh, there you go. Someone who knows more than me, Dirk, speaking up. You should actually use a softwood on the vise so it doesn't scratch whatever you're clamping down. There you go. I'd trust Dirk over me. I don't even know Dirk. I'd still trust Dirk's intuition on this wood thing. What are you doing, Mimsy? She's running around under my feet. Tim, do you need to varnish or leave it natural? That's another good question. Here we are at Angry's Handy Tips, where we crowdsource tips for your home projects. Because I certainly don't know. But hey, we can have our handy household tips. How do you get stubborn stains out? Celtic King, has your Hatma been in recently? Not not super recently, actually. Now that you mention it, I don't think Shatner swore off or anything, but well, there we go. We've got conflicting views. Belinda would varnish the wood, and Dirk would leave it natural. Division among the crowd. Controversy to the fore. The varnish versus the natural crowd. Well, they've come to blows over less in the past. This could be that sort of shenanigans all over again. As Mimsy's playing in the Holland blinds back there now. Or a poltergeist. Mimsy or a poltergeist. Or the possum got inside. Or there's a serial killer hiding. But no, that's Mimsy. She's come down here. Okay. Hey, Safa, how's it going? So, well, we went through all the possibilities. Could have been a poltergeist, possum, murderer, or Mimsy. Turns out it was Mimsy. And she won't murder me because she likes getting scratches. Tendai, at least it isn't the fruit of the something debate. See, that's a bit oblique. I don't know it. Oh my God, Tim, you're getting so precise. That's fantastic. I love it. Would it be good to position the vise half an inch below the work surface so as not to chip your number 5 planer? Others say just to be careful. This is, oh man, this is nuts and bolts. We're getting into the nitty gritty here. That's some awesome work there. Yes. You think Mimsy would try and murder a possum? I think she'd act like she would. Like, she got very alert when she heard the possum, but her hunting days are way behind her. Like, I've watched her, like, there's been birds in the backyard sitting on the grass, and Mimsy's sitting there in hunter pose going, yes, yes, I shall strike. And she will sit there for half an hour, the birds completely fucking ignoring her because they know she's old and won't do anything. But she's in this crouch like, yes, yes, I am the hunter. And she doesn't get them. She really doesn't. Oh, damn, payoff. Dirk asked what you're actually building, and you're building suspense. Nice. Oh, Tendai, the pineapple pizza. Look, I'm a big believer in let people eat what they want. And ham and pineapple pizza has been a staple in Australia my whole life. Always eaten ham and pineapple pizza. You know, you get weird stuff. You put potato is actually really good on pizza. Apparently it was controversial with some people when I said I liked avocado on pizza. I didn't think that was even a controversial choice, but it affronted a few people that I said I liked avocado on pizza. Because avocado goes really well with cheese. Yeah, see, Tim, we always called ham and pineapple pizzas Hawaiian pizzas. Whether or not that's accurate, I have no idea. Don't know if Hawaiian people like ham and pineapple pizzas, but I grew up, ham and pineapple was always called Hawaiian. Safa, is avocado cheapy? Depends the season. I notice they're about $2 now, and that's about the cheapest they get these days. And out of season, they can be $4 or $5 each. I think like $2 for a decent avocado is about as cheap as they get now. Go up here. Yeah, I'll pat you. There you are. Everyone likes to see you. Everyone likes to see you. Go up here. Up here. Sorry, I just laughed. She almost fell. There you go. That was funny to me because I'm mean. Linda, $2.50 for one in Woolies. I think I saw them for $2 the other day, but $2.50 is a fairly common one at this time of year. Josh, Vegemite pizza. Josh, someone needs to give you a beating. Josh, what is that? What is that? Vegemite. I did have Vegemite ice cream. There was a place doing Vegemite ice cream. It just tasted like salted caramel ice cream because Vegemite basically tastes like salt when it comes down to it. I do like the scrolls you get in like the Baker's Delight type places. the cheesy mite scrolls. They roll the pastry up into a scroll, and there's like a layer of cheese and Vegemite in it. I quite like it. Hang on, I want to adjust so we can see Mimsy. Here you go. Here you are, Mimsy. On the screen. Yeah, Joshua. You're good. Oh, you haven't tried it. I think we have a video in mind there, Josh. I'm going to make a Vegemite pizza and force you to eat it. That will teach you. That will teach you to come into my stream and talk about Vegemite pizzas. I'm going to make one and force you to eat it. Miss Foxification, hello to you. Oh my God, Tim, you almost made me choke on my drink. You're getting back to business. What brand of file should you buy? My friend, you want to visit a hardware specialist. I'm not sure that this is the place that I'm certainly not a good advisor. Oh, that's right, AngryAussie. You worked in the Baker's Delight phrases. The cheesy mite scrolls are sucky to make. Oh, damn. Josh, okay, we're doing it. Okay, because Josh basically lives Josh lives about a suburb away from me. He lives around the corner from where I used to live. Then I moved. Actually, it's probably more than one suburb. It's a couple suburbs, but we're in the same general area. No, dude. Okay, we're gonna do it. Maybe not. Maybe this weekend. Maybe not this weekend. I might be. Oh God, and then it's gonna be Christmas. Maybe after Christmas. I don't know. But no, I'm got to get Josh over here on a weekend, and you're coming over now. Make some Vegemite pizza and get drunk. And Hannah Hart have a trademark on my drunk kitchen. I'm sure we could get away with it. Yeah, no, that's something we could do on a weekend. That sounds like a fun thing to do. Do some food challenges. Oh yeah, the Vegemite chocolate. Yes, AngryPixie, you definitely come over too. Yes, both Amy and Josh had been around my place and made videos before, so we'd do it again. The Vegemite chocolate, yeah, that was okay. I wasn't that into it. It was a gimmick more than anything. Same as like they made the chocolate with chips in it, crisps. There was one that had just like the salted chips, and one was corn chips crushed in a thing, and that was pretty boring. I tried those, and I was hopeful that they'd be nice, like salty and sweet, but it was just a gimmick. That didn't really work for me. Oh, Blender, I've heard of that one. Vegemite and avocado on toast. I don't think I've ever done it, but I have a... Oh, yeah, Josh, do something with crisps. Yes. Oh, Miss Foxification, I don't think I'd replace the pasta sauce with... See, Vegemite and cheese is actually semi-traditional in Australia. So yeah, I'd maybe just go Vegemite and cheese on a pizza base. Oh, probably a bit of tomato in it. Yeah. See? Vegemite and avocado on pancakes. Whoa. Avocado and Vegemite on toast. Okay, I will have to try that at some point. I like avocado, I like Vegemite, I like toast. What could go wrong? Put them all together. That seems like a perfectly reasonable idea. Oh yeah, Miss Foxification, a bit of garlic. A Vegemite and cheese pizza with a bit of garlic. That would probably be pretty good. Yes, I can see that working because I like garlic on a pizza too. I'm definitely going to have to try Vegemite and avocado on toast. Yes. Ah, Toronto Maple Leaf, you're saying Hawaiian pizza was invented in Ontario, Canada, your neck of the woods. Ah. Yeah, I never knew how legit it was. I mean, because it's obviously, it's like the Hawaiian things become, well, there are pineapples in Hawaii, and very famously at, I was going to say Hungy, but I think that's a New Zealand term for the same sort of thing. And but they're notorious for having the roast pig at the luau. And so someone's just gone, yeah, ham and pineapple, that's Hawaiian. Caleb, the Illuminati agent. Of course you knew I was here. You're the Illuminati, you know everything. Tim, should you get a polishing wheel for your grinder? Ooh. I love it, dude. You're cracking me up. All these hardcore woodworking questions. You've got a wire wheel on one side, grinding wheel on the other. Got to sacrifice one for a polishing wheel. You know what I've always wanted? A Dremel. Because some crafty friends I know have a Dremel, which is this little handheld tool that your thing goes really fast and you can carve with it and you different ends for it. And it looks really cool. And I'm sure I would just fuck everything up with one. But because some of my crafty friends had a Dremel and did amazing things with it, I thought that's cool. I should get one of them. I'm absolutely the uncraftiest person in the world, and I would just fuck things up. But I still want something that spins really fast and carves things. So is that Toronto Maple Leaf? The creator was named Hawaiian Pizza. He wanted it to sound tropical. Yeah, I actually like pizza. Does pizza need to be savory? That's a big question, because there are a few places around here that do dessert pizza. Like it's a pastry crust, but then there'll be like chocolate and fruit on the top, and they can be super yummy. But I would feel weird having a sweet pizza for a meal. I think, yeah, savory pizza seems like the right thing on a meal for me. So think, ooh, Miss Foxification, a 3D printer. It's like, that's the most useless thing that I've always wanted. A 3D printer sounds great, and I've got no practical use for it whatsoever. I actually, I want, I know these exist. I don't know if they exist commercially, but I know they exist at least in labs. Basically, food 3D printers. You get some of them just use sugar, so you can make like your own candy, sweet treats, 3D print stuff and edible sugar. But I know they have ones that do it with edible starches as well. You can make really quite amazing things out of edible starches for showpieces on meals. I would go a 3D food printer, definitely. Good tip, self-warmer, get a good quality Dremel, because cheap ones burn out. So yeah, because you run pretty hard. Oh, that's an interesting one, Philosopher. A mildly sweet pizza, like have avocado, maybe some sugar, and a mild fruit like an apple. Dude, that's an experiment I would go for. Oh, just now you've brought that up. That actually sounds really good. I really like that. Jason, you're in for the 3D food printers as well. I am, particularly. Look, there will definitely be a time in the future where we get 3D printers that have the different flavors in them, and you could actually build something edible with multiple flavors in them. As I understand it now, they basically, she's been so weird. You get the ones that print with sugar, which is edible, or they print with a starch, which basically has no flavor. But yeah, the future, we will definitely have 3D food printers. Come back up here. No. We'll definitely have 3D food printers that have flavored food in them, which would be awesome. Sorry, trying to move, making me laugh. Speaking of pizza, order the weirdest pizza. Makes Hawaiian look like pussies. It's double cheese, Italian sausage, onion, pineapple, creamy garlic sauce instead of tomato sauce. There's a few places here that do some white sauce pizzas rather than just the red sauce ones. My favorite pizza in Melbourne is unsurprisingly on Lygon Street, which is the Italian district in Melbourne, where all the Italian restaurants are. This one place does a 5-cheese pizza. Oh my fucking God, it's great. It's really good. What's it called? Cafe Cavallino. And it's really funny because the decor's like tacky as shit. You know, it's like the red and white check tablecloths, and the walls are just plastered with Ferrari memorabilia. So the place just looks super tacky, and but the pizzas and the pasta is so good. I'm just letting Tim and Dirk are having the hardcore conversation about tools, and that is cool. You keep going with that. Agro Pixie, you like barbecue pizza? I don't mind pizzas with barbecue sauce. That's the other variant you get. The traditional is the red tomato sauce. Some places will have ones that are a white sort of cream-based sauce, and you also get ones that have a barbecue based sauce. I at different times will go for all of them. So that's an interesting thought, Miss Fox Vacation. Printing with cookie dough. Oh, that sounds like a great idea. That sounds like an absolutely fantastic idea. I love that. And you put bacon crumble on your pizza masterwork. Yes, that would work. Tendai, so you're too tough. Jalapenos. I am such a wuss. I am such a stereotypical white person with spices. I like something really mildly spicy, but yeah, whether it's curry or chili or whatever, and jalapenos. No, mind you, I did go and make my chili beverages over there, and they have quite a bit of kick in them. I like to make a mixed drink with them, and it has a bit of kick. But yeah, no, jalapenos, I definitely won't go on a pizza. I'm far too much of a wuss. Like, yeah, I'm ever at an Indian or Mexican place, it's like, mild, please. I'm going to say mild. I mean white person mild, okay? Do not underestimate me when I say mild. Oh my God, Jason, you into the super hot ones. That's mental. You want California Reaper hot. Oh my God. Oh, okay, Josh, you're going to go monster with spice and chili? Okay, I'm not, because I'm a wuss, but I will put you to the test, man. You're going to go monster with spice and chili? We should find something super evil. Dude, have I ever tried being a handyman? Dude, I am the most unhandy person in the world. I'm a fucking disaster area. Seriously, I did some like woodwork and metalwork in high school, and I was terrible at it. And I mean, obviously around the house, occasionally you have to do stuff, but oh, dude, I'm a fucking walking disaster area. Honestly, I'm the unhandiest man walking around on this earth, quite honestly. Okay, Tendo, you go for sriracha hot sauce. See, okay, I've had sriracha, and it's too hot for me, but I have had it. Oh, and yes, Belinda, you're saying the ghost pepper chili. My friend Corey, Mr. Safety, did a video years ago. Someone brought over a bunch of ghost chili peppers, and they were just eating them. Safa, okay, how much of a wuss am I? Do I at Nando's? I get the lemon herb chicken at Nando's. I don't even go for the mild spicy one. I either get their barbecue stuff or the lemon herb chicken. I don't go for the spices at all. Nando's is too much for me. Oh God, I did make a video years ago with this dude who used to hang around with the YouTube stuff, and then I think he had a couple of awful experiences online with terrible things. But we made a video once where he did a challenge. We bought a bottle of the extra hot sauce from Nando's, and he was challenging himself to see how much of it he could drink, and he drank a fair bit of it. It almost made him throw up. He's just drinking it straight from the bottle. Almost made him throw up, but he did it, and that was that. He's like, oh God, I'm dying. And then I started getting text messages from him 6 hours later, and it was, oh my fucking God, it still burns when it comes out the other end. I'm dying. It's just like, oh no, that's awful. This challenged me to make a box, dude. Dirkby disaster. Dovetail and hinge. Oh my God, I did dovetail in high school and I fucked it up so much. Tim, does anyone want to talk about welding? This is now sounding far more manly and practical than anything I normally talk about. We're talking about carpentry and welding here. This is a man's live chat here. That Jason, was that heat you didn't touch at Melbourne show? Had a little droplet bottle. Next big step to colour up. Oh man, it's after California Reaper. I did see a very funny video once. It was a chili eating competition in Texas, and they're pretty goddamn serious on Texas. You know, they border with Mexico, and all these people were making a big show of eating the chilies and go, oh, hot, 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 hot. And there's this one old dude, big guy with a cowboy hat on, and he's just calmly eating chilies with no expression. Or other people were doing it faster, like because the competition was to eat the most you could, and he was just doing it really methodically, but not reacting at all. It was just slow and steady. And then after about 5 or 10 minutes of it, just sweat started trickling from under his hat. It was like he still wasn't reacting, but there's just the sweat coming down. It was just like, yeah, he's frying from the inside from eating these chilies. Ooh, misfoxification. You like the wasabi peas. I've had those because you get those, what they call them, the bruja mix, the Indian spice mix. And I know you get the Japanese wasabi peas, but you get the Indian ones as well, which will have the wasabi peas and other spice. Those are okay. A bit spicier than I like, but yeah. Oh my God, Dirk and Tim are still at it. I thought you'd had a stroke, Tim. You're just going, Mig, eh? Lol. And the Dirk says, Tim, tig stick or Mig. Fuck. So I have no idea what you're talking about, but I was worried you'd had a stroke and you were just randomly hitting keys on your keyboard. But I believe that the two of you know what you're talking about. R-rated treating sweet chili grain leaf. Again, look, dude, that's about my limit. The sweet chili grain waves. A little bit of chilies in them. Even like when I get like a halal snack pack, the holy trinity of sauces is barbecue, garlic, and chili. And I always say swap out the chili sauce for sweet chili, because just straight up chili sauce is a bit much for me. But yeah, sweet chili I'm down with. Breeders, inert gas, get into it. Okay. Oh, Jason, wasabi won't hurt if you don't breathe through your nose. That was a stunt Jackass did back in the day, snorting wasabi, and they all ended up collapsing and vomiting because they snorted chunks of wasabi. Those silly, silly boys. Sorry. Dirk and Tim continue to make me laugh with tool talk that I understand none of, but that's okay. That's cool. This foxification, you share your wasabi peas without warning people what they are. That's kind of philosophy. You never watched Jackass. I watched the very early stuff there, and I watched their first movie. And what they made like 3 movies. I watched bits of the other one. It was Alexa. Oh man, dude, how are you? You caught me in the last 5 minutes. Alexa is one of those people I've actually met in real life. But nice to see you dropping in, pal. The early days of Jackass, I used to really laugh at, because it's like, this is what dudes do. Dudes sit around talking, what if you got in a shopping trolley and went down a steep hill? What if you jumped off the roof doing this? And the Jackass guys just did it. They just went and did it and got horribly injured all the time. And it was surreal. Yeah, Alexa, we had those breakfasts. There's a social media thing in Melbourne. Some social media people would have breakfasts on Fridays. Yeah, that's cool. How have you been, Alexa? Oh, Belinda, I didn't sit all the way through Angry Grandpa, but I saw bits of it. Seemed like there was some funny stuff in Angry Grandpa. Alexa, did I do any video on access bill? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, Tendai, their hospital bills must have been terrible, because they surely couldn't get any insurance because they were just willfully damaging themselves. So they would have just had to pay their hospital bills. Yeah, Jason, yeah, the Australian media has been making a song and dance of, we're not allowed to report on this. Media around the world is. We'll soon see. They'll get, I think they're appealing the suppression order. And again, their appeal will be, look, it's pointless. This has been published around the world. Everyone knows, and you're making us look stupid with the suppression order, so just lift the suppression order. I don't know if it'll work. It's just one of those weird wrinkles in the law. Who knows what's going to happen? All right. I'm just doing what you're saying, Toronto people. If you had Alexa in the room, I'd be activated. Yes, because I'm talking to Alexa. Yes. Well, see, that's what Miss Foxification. They did find a jury for him once. They're just worried about a jury again because apparently he still has stuff to face. Dirk, well, see, I wasn't into Bad Grandpa. Like, I didn't watch all of it. I watched bits of it. It seemed like it had some funny stuff. And, you know, I've seen lots of interviews with Johnny Knoxville. He seems like a nice guy, or at least an interesting guy. And it's like, yeah. Grant, what's the story? You're not allowed to talk about it. Although it's so hilarious because there's the court suppression order in Australia, so Australian media can't report on it. You actually find out what it is by like searching online for news story Australian media is not allowed to report on, and all the international media is going, wow, so Australia is not allowed to report on this, but it comes up straight away. Yeah, oh, sorry, Kaylee Browski, how much can I deadlift? Like nothing, dude. I'm like weakest. My arms have never been strong. Like I've never like been able to do like chin-ups, or I've never done weightlifting. I did, the only real exercise I ever did is when I was still a teenager, was boxing. And but I've never like had strong arms, like never been good at climbing or like chin-ups or lifting weights. Like fucking weak as piss. Oh, Tim, go back to talking about tools. Why did you start talking about hemorrhoids? Yeah, Miss Foxification, I don't know if his defense lawyer is going to try and argue he can't get a fair trial. I don't think it will work. I think an Australian judge will say, you know what, dude, we can instruct the jury on what not to pay attention to and what to pay attention to, and the trial can go ahead. Look, who knows? We shall see. But I mean, the genie's out of the bottle on this. The Australian media has to follow the rules or they'll get into serious trouble. I personally think the suppression order should be lifted because it's pointless, but we'll see. When you lift, shift, and work on your knees, bound to pop a vein or two. Oh, no, see, you know, if I want someone who's got guns from work, that would be Aggro Pixie, Amy. She's, as the saying goes, wee but swole, from working in a bakery and stuff. She's like, ah! She's just, my favorite's because she's a big, I was going to say baby metal. It's not baby metal. It's the Australian bodybuilder dude who sings with Japanese girl bands and wears the Japanese girl school uniform. Brain no worky. What are they called? Ladybeard. Thank you, Aggro Pixie. I was hoping you were still here. Ladybeard, yes. Aggro Pixie impressed the dude from Ladybeard with a gun show. So, yes, there was. Look, completely unrelated to the story that's being suppressed in Australian media. Former Archbishop of Sydney, George Pell, who was in a role that made him basically the third most powerful Catholic in the world, he got let go by the Pope. The Pope had put him in this role where he was in charge of the Vatican Treasury, I think. It's basically the third most powerful Catholic in the world, and the Pope's let him go. That's a completely different topic to the thing that has been suppressed in the Australian media. And on that note, we've hit 10 o'clock and go, Tim, you have to go to bed. Your wife's asking why you're watching a bearded man on YouTube while maintaining erection the whole time. I think the erection's from the Tool Talk. I don't think that's from me. I'd like to claim credit for it, but I suspect it's actually from the Tool Talk. But my, I also need to go to bed. Yes, Toronto Meat Believer. George Pell got smoted by the Pope. And 3 people got smoted by the Pope. One was an old guy who just retired because of old age. Another guy was from South America, and yeah, they 3 of them are gone, and it's all a bit worrying. Oh yes, there's all my drinks in the background. Okay, Josh and Amy, we've got at this point probably not till after Christmas. Like, I could maybe do it this weekend or the following weekend, but then maybe after Christmas. Life's too hectic at the moment. Anyway, Tim, enjoy your impromptu prostate exam. Thank you, everyone, for dropping by. It has, as always, been awesomely fun having you here. Really enjoyed the chat. Look after yourselves. Frank, you just made it. Frank, I'm in the middle of saying good night. Frank always gets in the last 5 minutes. Frank has done me some new animations for my videos, which I have been using. He's done another new one that I'll probably use on tomorrow or the weekend. But I will say good night to you one and all. Good night, Frank. I also have to send you a picture, Frank. There's a character in the Westworld Park Simulator game I have on my phone that reminds me of you. I'll try and remember to post it to Facebook or something. But for now, good night, one and all. I've thoroughly enjoyed your company. Hope to enjoy it again soon. But I will say bye for now. I'll click